Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah.
Melanated!
Welcome to my recap / review of 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days. This is episode 6. Let's jump right into it. On my lips is Black Radiance Perfect Tone Matte Lip Cream in the color Melanin Monroe. So in the first scene, we see Courtney going to Spain to meet Antonio, and she's on the plane. She's very excited. She's only got like a backpack and like one other thing, so she traveled light. This girl knows how to travel, because I would have had to bring more than that for sure. For 3 weeks, a backpack? Girl. She gets off the plane and she's hanging around the airport and she doesn't see Antonio right away. She's looking at her phone, but she doesn't have like Wi-Fi connection or any service. So when she gets service, a text message comes through from Antonio saying that he had to work and he hopes that she understands and he'll see her in the Garden Cathedral. So needless to say, she's a little annoyed because they had made plans for him to meet her at the airport. And he's known about these plans for at least 3 weeks, and he's doing this to her. He's like, up until the day before, he said he would meet her at the airport, and all of a sudden now he's like, I have to work. It's not like she's like flying into Barcelona, like a major city. It's a smaller airport and it's in a smaller area. So she then has to take like, I think like a 45-minute train ride or like an hour train ride to wherever it is that she's meeting him or wherever it is that he lives by herself. Like, I can't even tell you, I would be pissed. I would be so pissed that I wouldn't even see him. I would just go about my business in my 3 weeks in Spain and F him, because that shit is so ridiculous. I'm coming to your country, not your state. I'm coming to your country, and even up to the day before, we made plans about you picking me up at the airport, and when I get there, you don't show up because you had work? So Abby and Sean, they go to a voodoo priestess, which, like, I mean, listen, I am all for any kind of mysticism. If you were feeling some way about voodoo because you don't want to acknowledge the fact that we were stripped of our culture and our religion when we got put into the transatlantic slave trade, because you've been fed negative information about voodoo via the filter of our captors. I was really excited they went to see the voodoo priestess. Sean is like upset or like made some sort of comment about, because there's like a skull on the wall, and he's like, that's a real human skull. I'm like, they're at this voodoo priestess named Gladys because voodoo is really big in Haiti, and her mother told her to go because Abby has a rash, an itchy rash all over her body. Right out the gate, the voodoo priestess was like, you didn't get this rash here. And she's like, no. And then the voodoo priestess is like, where'd you get it? She's like, in the Dominican Republic. I was staying with a friend and he has the rash. Girl, it turns out that she got this rash from Chris a month ago. She's been itching and scratching for an entire month because she got a rash from Chris. Girl, I have been on like Google trying to figure out what she could have, and I have broken it down for you guys. She might have impetigo, which is like a bacterial like spreading rash on the skin. She could have some kind of like shingles. Like if he has shingles, I think this is saying that it's like it could be skin on skin contagious. Now I'm not sure, but like, girl, what rash is this that you could get from somebody? The only thing I can think of, it has to be some kind of fungal or bacteria rash, and I'm just like, how come you didn't get this fixed, especially before your new boo came to town and you got it from your old boo? That is gross, child. And is Sean gonna get it? What? Because we all know they had relations last episode. I am so baffled, you guys. Like, I am just like, So the voodoo priestess tells her that she's going to do something to help her with that rash, and they bathe her in some leaves, which I was like, give her that leaf bath, girl, because she needs to have relief from the itching. 1. 2, she also tells her that Abby's going to end up being with somebody older than her that has more life experience than her, and that she's going to have to make a choice and stay with that guy. Low-key, Sean is thinking it's him, and I would be like, well, if a voodoo priestess were to tell me that in front of my old-ass boo, like, I would think the same thing, too. But this rash is giving me pause. I was itchy for an entire day afterwards. I saw that episode. The voodoo priestess puts the thing all in her hair too. I'm like, her weave might be low-key kind of messed up. She's gonna have to get that fixed. So then next we jump to Jesse and Darcy. Jesse is having Darcy work out on a Stairmaster. The Stairmaster is the worst creation on the face of this planet. If you like the Stairmaster, you are someone who, I don't even know what it must be like to be in your body. The Stairmaster is the worst of all machines. It is torture. Then Jesse describes his best friend. He talks about how his best friend is going to be Darcy, and he's really excited because his best friend is always very honest. It seems like they're all really honest in Amsterdam, and everyone says exactly what they think. So when the best friend shows up, Jesse hugs him like he hasn't seen him in a year. Darcy meets the best friend, and the first thing the best friend says to her is, how are you guys going to deal with you aging? It was weird. Like, how are you going to handle kids? Are you going to want to have kids? Like, if he's going to want to have kids. And she's just like, well, you know, something to think about. And we'll think about it when we get there. And you're definitely bringing up some good questions. And like, I'm just like, whatever. He's insulting her the same way the stepfather did. And then Jesse has the audacity to say afterwards in a confessional that he's really glad that his best friend was there to talk to Darcy because he asked some really important questions. I'm like, so you sent your homeboy in to ask the important questions when you should be asking her these questions all the time, especially when she's constantly talking about you proposing to her? You need to be having these conversations with her, Jesse. So next we move to Larry and Jenny. Larry goes to meet his cousin Buster, who is with this woman, Annalyn, who is from the Philippines. And so Buster is actually the person who got Larry onto the website in order for Larry to find the love of his life as well. Buster and Annalyn talk a little bit about themselves. They were dating for 6 months via online. And then I think then Buster went to the Philippines to meet with Annalyn, and eventually moved back to the States, and now they're married and happy. I think Larry is really trying to get that exact experience because he's kind of desperate and really lonely that he's sped into it, girl. Just like sped right into it because it's only been 2 months. He's talking to them and they're just kind of like, you bought her a ring? What? And Annalyn is like, I checked her out on Facebook and she's talking to multiple guys. Annalyn is like, I don't trust her. I don't think she's here for honest reasons, or she's talking to you for honest reasons. And Larry is like, well, I guess I'll talk to her about it, but like, I'm going forward with this because I spent my 401k on this. Larry opened up his 401k, bought a ticket to the Philippines and bought her this ring. I hope he didn't spend it all. Like, my heart, like, I am so sad for him. That's his savings. Most people don't even have an extra savings besides their 401k. And 401k is like not going to be enough unless you've been saving since you were like 16. His cousin's like, you spent your 401k? I mean, I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. I think Larry is beyond even me like poking fun at him because now I just think he's like this sad human, you know? So then we go back to Courtney and Antonio. Courtney's feeling really dumb because she's now at the cathedral waiting for him. She says to the camera that she's going to only wait 30 minutes. And if he doesn't show up, then she's going to go about her business. She's just sitting there and she's just feeling really, really dumb. And that's really that little scene about that. And then it goes back to Sean and Abby. So they're eating pizza with forks. And I know you might be like, some people eat pizza with forks. I just thought it was a little weird. I have a friend who eats her French fries with chopsticks because she doesn't like to get the like salty greasiness on her fingers, so she just eats it with chopsticks, which okay, I get. So I guess I can get them eating pizza with a fork. That's fine. Anyway, so they're at dinner and Sean talks about how he is really wanting to meet Chris, and Abby is saying how scared she is for them to meet. She's just nervous about it, and she says that she doesn't want to have Chris not in her life because while their relationship is over, you know, she always told him that she would be there for him. And frankly, if she wanted to be with Chris, she would still be with Chris, but it obviously didn't work out. So Sean really has nothing to worry about. She doesn't understand why Sean is jealous. And this is where I'm like, Abby is weird because I don't understand why she doesn't understand why Sean is jealous. Would she not feel the exact same way if she came to Ohio and he always went to visit an ex of his and she would just be okay with it? Like, no, she wouldn't. Weird. So then we cut back to Darcy and Jesse, and Jesse has gotten all dressed up and they're going to like a place where there's like a bench and like water, and you know, there's a lot of canals in Amsterdam, so there's always water and boats around. And they're going to have a FaceTime conversation with Darcy's kids. It's only one of her daughters online. The other daughter was not there. You know, Jesse's dressed up because he was a little nervous and he was just wanting to make a good first impression. He says that it's too soon for this, but he did it for Darcy. And I'm just like, yeah, it is way too soon. He's talking and everything's going well. And I feel like Darcy sometimes is a little like hopeful and it's like fake. It's like she doesn't ever want to be negative and she always wants to be positive and happy, but the way her voice sounds makes me feel like she's really trying. Like she just is really trying to be positive and nice. It's so weird and contrived. I don't know how to explain it. So Darcy's daughter asks Jesse what he thought of her mom the first time he saw her. And Jesse was like, oh, I saw her and I thought, oh, look at her beautiful blue eyes. Look at her beautiful blue eyes. I'm sorry. Does anyone else not think that Darcy wears contacts? Like, I could have sworn she has like contacts that look like fake, like anime fake. It's such a weird moment for me. I was like, what is happening? But after that conversation is over, Darcy goes, how did you feel? You know, how does it make you feel? I mean, you're talking to like your stepkids, you know, how does it make you feel? And Jesse's like, it was good. It was a good conversation. And I thought to myself, Darcy, why do you keep his stepkids? He's 24 years old. Why do you keep saying things that are going to trigger him? In his confessional, Jesse mentions the fact that, like, he doesn't know if he's going to marry Darcy. Like, it takes time to figure that out. It could take years to figure out whether or not they're compatible. And even then, like, then you have to decide if you're going to have kids and all this stuff. And I'm thinking him talking about how it takes years. Like, even if it takes 3 years, like, is he going to want to have kids? They're going to have to do a lot because Darcy's already 42 years old. And don't get me wrong, I'm not shaming anybody who wants to have kids in their late 40s, because if I do have kids, I probably won't be able to have them until then anyway. But like, do they got money like that to be paying for fertile stuff? And like, I mean, I think Darcy's just so unrealistic. And it's now getting to the point where I'm like, okay, Darcy's crazy, Paul is crazy, and Larry are, like, they're legitimately crazy. All right, so then we jump back to Larry real quick, and Larry's packing his bags, and he's putting in tea, and those producers like, why do you have the tea? And he's like, oh, she's never had it. And he's like, really? And I'm just like, who's never had tea? Like, I don't want to be presumptuous and be like, obviously, like, they have, I feel like every culture has tea. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Okay. I'm like, if it's a lie, it's a weird lie to tell, maybe to make him feel like he's introducing her to something new, or maybe she just doesn't like tea. I don't know, but that is a weird. Okay, so he's a little worried going there. He again attempts to call her. She texts back that she's busy and that she'll call him back later. Like, he's always seemingly so disappointed when she doesn't answer his phone calls, like as though like she has nothing to do in her life. So then we get back to Antonio and Courtney. He's real, so that's great. She's not being catfished. I was really worried she was going to be catfished, but she's not, and so that's cool. But he seems like he's really self-involved and self-absorbed. So we see that Antonio is a model. Antonio is having a conversation with his friend, and he's talking about how he's a model and now he dates a lot of different women. And his friend is talking about, like, Antonio is a guy who dates a lot of different women, so it seems weird that he would settle on this one girl for 3 weeks, come here to meet with him because he's like a playboy, you know? He's out there in the field doing his thing. There's something about Antonio that leads me to believe that he is gay. Some of you might be like, well, he's European, they're different, but like, it leads me to believe that at least he's bisexual. He likes men, or I don't know. It's not his masculinity. There's something about him that I'm just like, I put on my backlights because I realized I didn't have them, and this, you know, add a little pizzazz to the video. With Antonio and Courtney, I kind of get the feeling that Antonio's just kind of filling out Courtney. Like, if Courtney wants to waste her money coming to Spain to meet him, he's game. And after 3 weeks, he find out he doesn't like her, like, whatever. She's gonna go home and it'll be over with. He seems like he does enjoy Courtney and talking to her, but like, he's not saying he's in love with her and, you know, that he's ready to come to the States and be with her forever. And I think she is feeling a little, you know, he's saying all the playboy things, like, I love you and you're so sweet and all those things. And I think she's really falling for it. I think she's going to in for a rude awakening. Courtney says that she's only going to wait there for him for 30 minutes. She's sweating. She has all her bags and she sits there and waits for him. I think she waits for him for like something like an hour. And finally he shows up all clean and fresh. And he immediately like says to her, like, oh, you look so great, you look beautiful, just like you look better than the pictures. And they hug and she's excited, but at the same time, she's a little annoyed. And this is where I was like, I like Courtney, because she calls him out on it. She's like, we were supposed to meet at the airport. You know, I've never been here. And you were supposed to meet me at the airport and we had a conversation and you didn't. And he's like, awkward, because he didn't expect her to like call him out on it. And she's like, so I'm excited to see you, but I am a little bit annoyed. And I've also been like walking around and I'm hot and I've been waiting for you and you show up and it's just kind of like, I'm glad that you are who you are, but I'm still a little annoyed. And he just keeps trying to hug her to like, make her let it go. And he's like, well, I had to work. And she's just like, that wasn't cool though. Like, at the very least, he could have sent a car for her. He could have sent a car. He could have sent something for her and he didn't do anything. And maybe it's because he thinks she's so well-traveled that she would have been fine, but nope. He's like, okay, I'm going to take you to a pageant because I'm a judge of a pageant. And that's another red flag for me too, but you know, no judgment. She's like, okay, you know, let me go back to your apartment and change. And he's like, no, we have to go right now. I'm going to be late. She's like, but I'm hot and sweaty and I don't look good. I just got off a plane. And he's like, you know, we don't have time. I'm sorry. And I'm just like, why wouldn't he at least like tell her, hey, I had something to do afterwards, so if you can freshen up somewhere, like she would have figured it out. Like he's just, I mean, he's so inconsiderate and rude and all about himself that I don't trust Antonio at all. I think this is going to be a terrible trip for her because I don't think he's going to be a very gracious host at all. So I really feel for Courtney, and I hope she gives Antonio a real piece of her mind. I mean, I'm telling you guys, these episodes are dragging on. It seems like the show really likes Abby and Sean because so far, Abby and Sean have been in every single episode. I don't know, like maybe they're giving more attention to the couples that are actually going to go further and like not as much attention to the couples who aren't going to really go anywhere. I don't know. That is just my like thought right now. There's a lot of bad choices in this episode and I don't feel good about it. I feel bad for Courtney. I feel bad for Larry. Like, oh. Okay, guys, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If you have any questions, comments, or concern, let's have a dialogue. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked what I do on this channel and want to consider becoming a Patreon patron, please click the link in the description box and go on ahead and become a patron. All right, remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.